Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And today I was once again lucky enough to get an early access screener from my friends over at Pixel Scene Media. And this movie is going to be releasing in just a few more days into theaters. The movie that I'm referring to is the 2025 film Sovereign, directed and written by Christian Swiegel. This movie is very interesting and very dark, and apparently based off of a true story. First off, let me tell you what the story is for this one. We have our two main characters, which are a father and son, Jerry and Joe Kane, who claim to be sovereign citizens, which are people that are extremists that believe in anti government. So, what Jerry does for work is almost like a public speaker. He sets up meetings for other people who are interested in learning more about being a sovereign citizen and how to deal with the government on different levels. Now, mind you, some of his ideas, it seems like, hey, that'd be great if there was little tricks and tips to be able to get around the government. But of course, these ideas don't actually work when trying to face off against actual law. And when speaking of law, we have our other main characters, which is John Beauchart, who is a law enforcement officer, and his son, who has recently just become a rookie. So, of course, we have one family that believes that they can get around the law, and one family that is trying to enforce it. And of course, these two do become entangled with each other, but I'll leave that up to you to find out and learn about yourself when watching this film. One of the other big plot points of this film is Joe Kane. He is not as much into what his father is believing, but it is his father. So, how far is he willing to stay the course, and how much is he willing to buck against the system that his father is creating for him to follow? Now, when it comes to my experience with sovereign citizens, I've primarily only seen things on television and in movies and on TikTok videos. But this was really interesting to see this more in depth and kind of from the perspective of the family that is actually believing these, well, beliefs. One thing I do really want to applaud this film for is the acting. Dennis Quaid, Jacob Tremblay, and of course Nick Offerman as the character of Jerry are absolutely wonderfully played throughout this story. I do feel this had a very good story throughout the whole film. It got very intense more near the end of the movie, and there were times throughout the film that I kind of lost a little bit of interest, but it was able to pull me back in. And just in general, seeing this kind of mindset was very fascinating. The thoughts and ideas that are presented aren't ones that I necessarily agree with, but it is interesting, especially in this kind of time frame that we're in, where it feels like the government is against the middle class and everything. Watching this, there are moments where you sit there and go, yeah, I really do kind of wish that there were tips and tricks you could use to get out of these situations. And why does it really feel like everything is against us and not for us as citizens of the United States? It's a very thought-provoking movie that I do recommend checking out for yourself now that it's going to be coming out to theaters. So for me, on my scale, I'm giving Sovereign a 3 out of 5. Once you see this one for yourself, please come back to my video and let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if there's any other films that are coming out to theaters that you think I should watch and do a review for, please let me know. And once again, big shout out and thank you to Pixel Scene Media for sending me another early access screener. If you'd like to keep doing so, I will absolutely always agree to it. And if anyone else out there works for any other companies that can send out a screener, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to watch the movie, do a review, and give you a little bit of extra publicity.